What's up, NOF members? We are back for another episode of NewOrleans.Football presented by PJ's Coffee, coming to you from the mobile Ochsner Andrews Sports Medicine Institute podcast studio here at the Superdome. We're set up in the press room today, breaking down this 21-14 loss to the Los Angeles Rams. What went wrong? What does it mean for Rizzi? How did the Saints bounce back from it? We're going to get into that and so much more. But before we do that, make sure you go check out my guy Matt Bowers at one of his many dealerships throughout the region. They got the state-of-the-art Ford dealership up on Vets. Make sure you go and check that out. And after you get that new car, check out some of these other sponsors that support our show. We're going to get a quick word from them and be right back. Ochsner Hospital for Orthopedics and Sports Medicine on Clearview Parkway is celebrating 5 years of exceptional achievements. The hospital's integrated team has successfully performed over 20,000 surgeries using the latest in cutting-edge technology. With nationally recognized services and impactful partnerships, they continue to lead the advancement of orthopedic and sports medicine care in our region.
Rouse's Markets is voted best grocery store in New Orleans, best grocery store in Baton Rouge, Mississippi, Gulf Coast, Thibodaux, Houma, Hammond, Lake Charles, Mobile, year after year. Thank you for choosing us best grocery store on the Gulf Coast. Number one. Thank you.
Thank you.
The number one grocery store
In Mississippi, Alabama,
Louisiana. 1 million customers a week can't be wrong. Welcome to Rouse's.
The NewOrleans.Football show is proudly presented by PJ's Coffee. PJ's Coffee has some of the best drinks that you can find. They have locations all over the city. They have pastries and everything else you need to get your day started. So go check them out. NewOrleans.Football is proudly sponsored by Urban South Brewery, the makers of Paradise Park Lager. I love supporting local breweries, and when looking for a refreshing, easy drinking beer, I always recommend Paradise Park. In fact, I think it might be the best game day beer out there. If you want something a little lighter, try Paradise Light. It's everything I love about Paradise Park with just 96 calories and 2.6 carbs. And if you're looking for a family-friendly place to watch the game, I'd recommend Urban South's Tap Room in the Lower Garden District. They've got 15 TVs, 30 unique beers on tap, and mouth-watering urban smash burgers. The whole family will want to make Urban South their new living room, because at Urban South, they take laid back seriously. Looking for the best insurance coverage at the lowest price? Look no further than Chabert Insurance, the Earhart Agency. They are a local independent insurance agency right here in New Orleans, specializing in home, flood, and auto insurance. Their agents are born and raised in the area and understand our community's unique needs and the homeowners insurance crisis our residents are currently in. At Chabert Insurance, the Earhart Agency, their dedicated team will shop every available carrier in the market, ensuring you get the most comprehensive coverage at the lowest possible price. They know your time is valuable, which is why they work diligently to provide you with the quotes as soon as possible. Why settle for less when you can have the best? Trust Chabert Insurance, the Earhart Agency, to protect what matters most to you. I do. I've been a client of theirs since 2021. When we couldn't find someone to insure our house because of the big oak tree growing over top, Chabert worked until they found someone that would work with us and give us the protection that we need to feel safe in our new home. Call them today at 504-326-6526 or visit them online at Protected by Chabert. That's 504-326-6526. Chabert Insurance, the Earhart Agency, your local insurance experts. Hardhide Ponchatoula Strawberry Whiskey is an 86 proof blend of aged wheat bourbon, American light whiskey, and fresh Ponchatoula strawberries. Blended in New Orleans, it is not for the thin-skinned. Look for it in your favorite stores, bars, and restaurants. NewOrleans.Football is proud to be sponsored by Firehouse Subs. Make sure you check out their location on Veterans Boulevard. Attention Saints fans, don't let pests and termites invade your home field. Trust the team at Red Pest Solutions to tackle those unwelcome visitors. Call the Red Man today for unbeatable pest and termite control. Score peace with no pest. Visit redpest.com, REDDPEST.com. All right, let's get into the show. Welcome back to NewOrleans.Football presented by PJ's Coffee. I'm Nick Underhill. He's Mike Triplett. That's Brandon Thomas over there. 21-14 loss to the Rams. What do we got on it?
21-14 loss to the Rams. That's our first segment presented by Chabert Insurance, the Earhart Agency. What went wrong in the Saints' 21-14 loss to the Los Angeles Rams? First major loss under Darren Rizzi, first loss of the Rizzi era, but there were also some major L's taken on the field. Taysom Hill, the card had to come out. Nick Saldiveri, the card had to come out. So besides that, and including that, what went wrong in this loss?
Well, I feel like the first half, I mean, the Saints were moving the ball a little bit, but it kind of felt like both teams were gassed in second wind, like season 6 Tony Soprano. Like it was just a lot of like laborious activity, and it just really did. It felt like they had no energy, and it looked like both teams just weren't ready to kind of play, especially the Rams in the first half.
Yeah.
Like Stafford looked like he was like drunk on like tryptophan or whatever it is. Like that was a crazy looking first half for him. Just it didn't look like he was locked in. He was out of sorts. He was missing throws.
Their running backs averaged
were.
like 7 yards a carry in the first half, and they scored 0 points.
Yeah, I don't know what his stats were, but I remember looking at him at halftime like, what the hell? Like this is like an Anthony Richardson stat line at halftime. Like it looked really bad, and he dialed in the second half and looked better. I think Tyron getting hurt helped quite a bit. But that first half, to possess the ball for 19 minutes and to get 6 points, like that felt like a very poor situation for them to be in.
Yeah, look, it was. I wrote my whole thing about. You wrote after the game about the biggest fail of the game, which was their final drive when they ended up with 0 points after they got down near the goal line and couldn't convert on 3rd and 4th down. But that was happening all day. I mean, even the first drive that went 12 plays and they had to convert a 4th down to keep moving the ball still ended in just a 54-yard field goal. They worked that hard for a 54-yard field goal. Next drive, they get down like to the 10-yard line, and they have to burn a timeout because they don't have enough men on the field, and then penalty on Fuaga, and then a penalty on Penning, and then a missed field goal. And it's just like all that work, like you say, for 3 points on those first two drives. And when they had the ball for 14 of the first 15 minutes of the game, they only led 3-0. It was just like that the whole rest of the game. They were not taking advantage of situations. One deep ball to Marquez Valdez-Scantling. But otherwise, the Saints were playing the kind of game that you have to be perfect. You got to have 12-play drives. You got to make defensive stops. And this is not a perfect team. They can't win games that way. They can't win games that way because eventually the better team prevails when you're trying to play perfectly, and the Rams are the better team on both sides of the ball. The Saints needed tricks up their sleeve. The Saints couldn't just outlast the worst team. They were the worst team.
Yeah, I mean that was kind of my feeling throughout the whole first half is that the way they were playing the game. They aren't a team that can win unless they get big plays. Like they're very big play dependent. They aren't talented enough to go into a game where they're going to be like, okay, we're gonna sustain these drives. We're gonna run 15 plays every single time, and we're gonna do that 5 times in the game, and we're gonna score on 5 drives, and we're gonna win this game. Like that. That's not ever gonna work for them. They just aren't. They simply aren't good enough. And I know, sometimes they have those drives and they run the ball, and you can have a couple of them, and they need those to be able to set up. But like. It has to be with the idea of, okay, we're going to run the ball so that we can pull them in and then get a shot play. And if they aren't doing that a couple times a game, like it feels like they need 2 of them every game to just have a chance to be able to win. And they only got 1 today, and they didn't have that chance to win. And they just aren't good enough to do that. And that's what I was saying. Like it just felt like so laborious at the beginning of the game. Is that it was just like, like just so much effort to move down the field, and it didn't work out for them. And they're eating clock, and then they don't score. It just felt like a disastrous game. Really,
well,
it did.
Rizzi said it was going according to plan, and that was their plan. He said they wanted to be in 3rd and manageable the whole game, and they were in 3rd and manageable the whole game. But they only went 5 of 15 on 3rd downs. I mean, they were failing on 3rd and 1.
That's a bad plan. You want to be 3rd and manageable, and you get 33%. I mean, that's not a good plan.
like they thought, okay, we can convert 3rd and 4s, we can convert 3rd and 1s, and they didn't, and they couldn't.
The Rams gave the Saints an entire half to run the score up. The first half, they were like, hey,
this is your half.
Do what you want to do. And then they just didn't. They couldn't. The offensive drives that were happening, they couldn't sustain. It got to the point where it was – like, let's try to run it. And Alvin was running it. He was running it. He was doing his thing, but it never was turning into points. The one touchdown he would have had come back because of legal man downfield. And later there, you got Penn with the low blow block. So, like, it's a lot of self-inflicted wounds that came up. Going looking at Derek Carr, he was 24 of 37 passing for 184 total in the whole game. And, Nick, you wrote an article detailing that last drive about how, we all saw it. All our listeners, they're tapped in, so they saw it, so they could read that, get the full breakdown. But I mean, it was right there for them, and they just couldn't do it. And then the whole second half, what are the Rams doing? Force feeding you Kyron Williams. You couldn't do anything with it. And then Honey Badger went out. After that, that's all she wrote.
Yeah.
Stafford said, okay, we got it now.
It wasn't a good game for Derek Carr. It wasn't. I mean, there were a couple of plays where I just felt like he didn't manage the pocket as well as he could have. That last play, I mean, I think there's a handful of dirty hands, and like Brandon said, there's a complete autopsy of it. But I mean, I'll say that I think his hands are dirty on that play. Like, you can't stand in the pocket for 4 seconds and not get a pass off. You just can't. Like, that's a lot of time. Okay, guys aren't open. You got to make something happen then. But I think that kind of illustrates what he is, though, is a quarterback. He's a guy you can win with, but you aren't going to win because of. And then in that moment, you aren't getting the win with effort from everybody else. You need the win because your quarterback goes and makes something happen. And he just simply is not that type of player. And that's why he's a $30 million quarterback and not a $50 million quarterback. He's just not going to elevate you in those moments. And it just is who he is. Like, it wasn't the structure, the plays called, and it didn't go to plan in a way that it needed to go for him to succeed in that moment, and he couldn't succeed. And it just kind of is who he is. So I don't think it was the greatest game for him. And I thought that last play was a tough moment for him, even though, like B said, I wrote a story. You go through, there's a handful of people that weren't executing, but I still think that he's part of that problem.
For sure. No question about it. And look, I mean, we can't let the defense off the hook, even though the offensive shortcomings felt like what dictated this game, because we kept seeing they got across midfield across midfield 5 times. They had a 1st and 10 on their own 49, so they got like right on the cusp of midfield and got 1 touchdown and 2 field goals out of it. That felt like the story of the game. But the Rams basically scored a touchdown every time they got the ball in the second half. Yeah. They had 4 possessions, 3 touchdowns in the second half. They couldn't tackle, which has been a recurring problem for this defense. They did do a pretty good job against Stafford the entire game, but when he needed to hit some big throws, he did. He's a win because of quarterback.
Just like against the Browns, they took Myles Garrett off the board. Today, they took Cooper Kupp off the board, but it wasn't enough to get it done.
I don't know if they took Cooper Kupp off the board. I think Cooper Kupp just didn't get on the board. I don't think they took him off the board. There were things in their coverage that were, I was like screaming at the field, like, oh my God, like why are you? There were opportunities there that they didn't take, but they were there. I don't think they took him off. I refuse to allow that narrative to fly that they took him off the board. I'm gonna have to see more evidence of that. I don't think the stat line. Sometimes that happens, but I don't think that was because of what the Saints did.
They just didn't really have the ball. They only had 3 possessions in the first half and 4 possessions in the second half. 7 total possessions in this game, except for the kneel down at the end of the game. 7 total possessions. They forced 3 punts. They gave up 3 touchdowns.
Going back to the names that went out, Nick, you said the Tyron shoulder injury.
Not a problem.
Not a problem. Nothing too serious to worry about. Any update on Taysom?
Seems bad. Don't expect to see him play again. Ian reported too that appeared to be season-ending. I mean, there's only 5 games left, so any type of injury. But I think it's going to supersede that. I think it's going to be. I think there's a chance it's more significant than. Just
yeah, we saw that helmet.
Yeah.
And then Saldivari, anything with that? Nothing yet. Okay, but that'll go into our next segment presented by Urban South. What does this loss mean for Darren Rizzi? The Rizzi era started off so hot, and this was the first real gut punch to that. So, What does this mean going forward?
I mean, it did take all the wind out of the sails. I mean, it felt like there was some magic involved, and the magic has gone away. Now he just looks like a coach coaching a bad team that has been super depleted by injuries, and there's only so much a coach can do to get past that. So he looks so much more human than he did before. Now look, I stand by what I've thought all along. He gets 8 games as interim coach. If he goes 7-1, he'll get the job. If he goes 5-3 or worse, he's not going to get the job. And 6-2 makes it like 50-50. So yeah, if he comes back and only loses one more game and gets a win against the Packers or Washington or Tampa, it's not over for him. It's not over for him until he loses at least that second game. But he's going to. This team is just not good enough. This team is not good enough to finish 7-1. They're not good enough to be that consistent. Bad things are going to happen. They even if they had a decent plan and they put themselves in position for this to be a 1-score game, if they're going to play that high wire act, they're going to lose 2 or 3. They're going to lose half their games, and so I like what Rizzi has brought to this team, but you have to be a miracle worker to go 7-1 with this team, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it really depends on, do they want to talk themselves into him or not? I really think that's going to be the key thing. If they want to talk themselves into him, I don't think this game really changes anything per se. If they are kind of like, well, it needs to be proven to me, you need to make a case and convince me, then I think it's a hit. Especially because it's a game that was winnable. Like, you didn't lose one where you got like smoked. Like, this was a winnable game, and if it slipped through your fingers, that ends up being a big deal. In this, I could see this being a situation where they wanna find reasons to keep everyone together. That's been in their DNA, and until we see just kind of like a willingness to kind of step completely away from everything that they've done up until this point. I think that's on the table. So I think they probably want to, see him succeed. Why wouldn't you? Like that? That's kind of the outcome you're looking for. So I don't think that. I don't think necessarily that it's like a death knell, but I agree with what you're saying. That I think it should be a big hit. Like it obviously I think is a big hit. I think it's a big hit in the dose that like the reality of the situation I think is going to come. I bet they win next week, and then I think Commanders Packers are really tough.
Yeah. And
the Bucs game could get away from them. The Raiders are looking a little bit, I don't know, feisty, so to speak. They just play. I guess everybody's playing Kansas City well though, so I don't know if you put any stock into that. But I think this is a dose of reality, and I think it's just gonna. It's what you said there, an injured team with an interim coach playing out the stretch of a lost season. At some point, reality comes back. And I think once reality comes back and there's that second loss, I think at that point it's just, the hope of the playoffs are gone. The weight of the season starts to feel in the locker room. The blinders that the Rizzi move and the DA firing put on everything kind of start to go away. And it's just like, all right, like, let's get this thing over with. I think there's a risk of hitting that point, and that's going to happen to any bad team. And I think that's what this signifies, that, okay, the whole magic and whatever, like, that wasn't ever real.
It was a huge missed opportunity, too. Like, I don't think this shows, like, exposed him as not capable of doing the job or anything like that. But he missed an opportunity to have a signature win, to get one game back in the NFC South and have everyone start talking about the possibility of being in the division race. Now he is going to be coaching a team that's not really in the division race anymore, and even the a win next week against the Giants won't feel very meaningful as a result. I will say this though, I had said, as the founding member of the Clint Kubiak bandwagon, staying on it throughout everything, I'd said the offense thriving could help support Rizzi's case if they wanted to keep this whole staff together, if they got the offense humming. This was a big step back for the offense today. They had no answers today. And so I think if any of the Rizzi equation was, hey, let's keep this thing rolling because we finished strong, we found our offense, Carr's playing great in this offense, let's keep it all together. This was a really, really, really disappointing day for the offense. It just looked like they had absolutely nothing that they could go to. If they don't hit that, very, high, low percentage, high reward, deep pass to Valdez-Scantling that's kind of bailed them out every week, they had nothing today.
Two things. Going to this Tankathon chart, first off, yes, I do think the Saints are going to win next week against the Giants. But the Saints are also on this list. You can't be with 75 cents in your pocket calling somebody with a quarter broke. You just can't do it. So the Raiders, I'm not automatically, you said they're playing scrappy, I'm not automatically chalking that up as a win because you never know how they're going to come into the building. They might be fighting for their coach. The Giants, they got a lot going on. They're on their third-string quarterback. I don't know if DeVito Magic is going to come back next week. He might, they all from New Jersey, him and Rizzi, so they might just be passing it around up and down the state. Who knows?
They had Drew Lock last week. Was that because of injury or just because of the move? Okay.
Yeah.
And they lost Dexter Lawrence, who's probably their best player, too.
Yeah, so the New York is experiencing the same problems, but, I mean.
Good for them. Work that draft status, man. Move up.
Lean into it, yeah. And so Cleveland played them already, beat them already. We'll see what they do tomorrow against Denver and how that shakes things up. But my second point is with this, in terms of going after a coach this offseason, you tweeted about it earlier after the Bengals loss. The talent on their team, future-wise, supersedes the Saints. So on this list, a lot of these places already have fired their coach, but, shakeup-wise, how attractive is the Saints' job? You don't have to go too deep into it because we already kind of talked about it, but just eye test.
Well, I mean, like relative to the other people on this list, like I'd rather have Jacksonville. I'd rather have New England. I'd rather have I don't know. Bryce Young's looking okay. Like maybe
That job's not coming open.
Maybe Carolina. If it worked, yeah. I mean,
pump the brakes.
but like just if you're picking them, like that one might. I wouldn't say never. Tepper's a wild dude.
Yeah, that's
but,
true. That's true.
But yeah, it's not gonna come open. But I mean, Carolina, if it did, I would probably. I don't know. It depends on Bryce Young the rest of the way. Like all of a sudden, he looks like salvageable a little bit. I don't know. It's been kind of weird. That might be it. That might be it on that list. The Browns.
Well, I mean, you would rather have the Bengals job, but we.
Well, yeah.
obviously.
I mean, that's below. But
Yeah.
yeah, the Bengals job, obviously. The Browns, they aren't free of that Watson situation yet.
No.
I don't know what the Titans are doing. Maybe their cap situation would allow you to go there. It's tough. It just really depends on what you value. But I don't know what you're hanging your hat on with the Saints right now.
Yeah.
It's a tough spot. I don't know. I'm losing faith in the roster rapidly. Every now and then you're looking at it and you're like, maybe they could add to it and find a way to do it. But I'm losing faith in it. I'm just ready for a new direction, honestly. Kind of the whole thing. And to your point,
That's what today did. I mean, when we said it got rid of the magic, like if you're starting to talk yourself into, this winning thing is fun. What if they win, 6 of their last 8? What if they get in the division race? But this just like slapped it right back to where it was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
it's no, they're still the 4-8 team that's lousy.
It had me like losing my grip on reality for a little bit. I was always Mr. like just lose the games. What's the point of trying to win them? And then like it starts to be okay. They won 2. Let's see where this goes. This is fun to see how it plays out. It's more enjoyable. Obviously it's not the best thing for the long term health of the team, but it could be a fun little story. So who cares? Nah. Like just lose the games. Like really, that's where it's at. And look, if Rizzi goes on a run and makes the playoffs, wins the job, all that, it's a cool story.
Cool.
It's a cool story, and I'm okay with it. I'm not against that happening. But at this point, it just feels like I would feel better about the team if they were pick 4.
Buccaneers are going to be in first place by the end of next week when the Falcons lose at the Vikings and the Buccaneers beat the Raiders. Yeah, I mean, if the Saints beat the Giants and they somehow got within 1 game of first place, and then you'll be like, all right, can you go win in Green Bay? Can you go win in Washington? Get that magic back? But it's just this was a reality check today for sure.
Total Maintenance is one of the largest locally owned home and commercial service providers in South Louisiana. They were founded in 1980 and serve the greater New Orleans and Baton Rouge markets. And Total Maintenance wants to show some love to our NOF listeners. They have a membership program that gets you 2 tune-up visits for AC and heating, as well as club membership discounts of 15% on all repairs, half off of all diagnostic charges, and 3-year warranties on most repairs for membership clients. This is usually priced at the low price of $24.95 a month per system, but if you tell Total Maintenance that you found them through NOF, they'll lower the price to $20.95 per month per system for as long as you keep the membership active. It will never increase. Total Maintenance has a tune-up special running this summer for $79, down from the normal price of $179. This is a one-time offer for 1 system only. They also offer a free diagnostic on second opinions on units deemed to be unrepairable, and they offer free estimates for replacements as well as commercial maintenance programs. Services include AC and heating service and replacement, electrical service, plumbing service, as well as generator service and installation. They are Total Maintenance. Find them at tm-ac.com or give them a call at 504-841-3300, or if you're in the Baton Rouge area, 225-480-1000. There's always that one person on your holiday shopping list that's just impossible to find the right gift for. They have everything they want, and there's nothing they need. So what do? This year, head up to Boudreaux's Jewelers on Metairie Road and get that special someone a limited edition Breitling Saints watch. That's right. That's a Breitling watch with the Saints fleur-de-lis right on the face. Only 104 of these were made, so if you're looking for something special, this absolutely meets the mark. Boudreaux's Jewelers has been around since 1933, and they have a great selection of handmade jewelry, watches, and rings. It's the perfect destination for your holiday shopping. Boudreaux's Jewelers at 701 Metairie Road in Metairie. Martin Wine and Spirits is home to a selection of hand-picked barrel select bourbon, whiskeys, and much, much more. They are family owned and operated since 1946 and specialize in wine, spirits, gourmet food, gift baskets, catering, and tasting events. They have many locations, so they're never too far away. You can check them out in Metairie, New Orleans, Mandeville, and Baton Rouge, or if it's more convenient, you can always shop online. Whether you're a wine novice or a seasoned collector, you'll enjoy the Martin Wine and Spirit experience.
Score big with Saints Score. Win up to $100,000. Enter the second chance drawings for cool Saints prize packages. Play Saints Score scratch-offs from the lottery.
Hey everyone, with the holidays creeping up faster than your aunt's fruitcake recipe, I've got something way better to share with you. If you want to look sharp for all those festive gatherings and maybe finally win that Best Groomed at the Family Dinner Award, check out the latest masterpiece from Manscaped, the Chairman Pro Electric Foil Shaver. Trust me, it's like Rudolph for your face, guiding you to a smooth, irritation-free shave. Head over to manscaped.com and join the over 11 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped by using code New Orleans for 20% off and free shipping.
There's nothing quite like the feeling of stepping into your dream home. At Jefferson Financial Federal Credit Union, we can help make that dream a reality with a team dedicated to you. When you partner with Jefferson Financial, you do so for the life of the loan. Having a single point of contact when questions arise is invaluable. Our experts are here to guide you every step of the way. There's no better time to invest in your future. Apply online at jeffersonfinancial.org. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Lender.
Whether you are a local New Orleanian or a fan in town for the game, get your pre- and post-game fired up at Aaron Rose. Local chaos and local love for the black and gold. Wake up and live with daily drink specials, mimosas, screwdrivers, Bloody Marys, and hot or frozen Irish coffees, all just $3 or $4 between 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Aaron Rose, half a block from Bourbon Street in the French Quarter, 811 Conti Street.
Here at the Queen Casino, indulgence knows no bounds. Prepare your taste buds for an extraordinary culinary journey. Start your day at Capital Coffee. Craving something different? 3 Walks Noodle Bar offers a tantalizing selection of Asian delights. At 1717 Kitchen and Cocktails, savor American cuisine with a twist. Or ascend to the loft for an elevated experience. Enjoy artesian grazing boards and exquisite craft cocktails. Join us at the Queen Casino. Your royal adventure awaits.
We're here in the Caesars Superdome. It might not look like it, but we are in here. We're in the press room today. That'll take us into a positive note. Our next segment, the hard high player of the game, the guy that you could dial up if you need a chunk yardage play or a touchdown. MVS, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, 2 receptions, 36 yards, 1 touchdown. It's the best we got today.
Well, I didn't get a vote in this. Alvin must be ineligible because he's exceeded the number of times he's won it. But yeah, where would they be without MVS? It's like that one deep touchdown pass makes this team look so much better every single time. Thank God he keeps delivering on it. It is amazing that he's done it 3 weeks in a row. You could also kind of share the award. I mean, we're going to get into 3 up and 3 down, but all these replacement receivers.
I'd save those because there aren't a lot of people.
I'm about to say, keep them in the tuck.
So you're going to run through the whole list.
I don't mind him.
We're going to be out of the next topic.
I don't mind him being on here representing, all the receivers that.
But I mean, just look at MVS.
That need to step up with their lack of proven guys here.
Look at MVS's impact. 3 games, 7 receptions, 232 yards, 7 first down receptions. Those are pretty crucial because, hey, man, as we'll get into our Martin's question, getting that first down becomes a big thing with this team. And then 4 total touchdowns. He's came in and he's made his name known. You know, people know who that boy with the long name, you know what I mean? Whenever there's, like, fans and stuff watching TV. But MVS, yeah, he's definitely came in and continued to raise his stock.
I think Alvin's going to be on the 3-up, obviously, so we'll talk about him a little bit here. It just since Mike brought him up. I think the problem with making him the player of the game in this game, and it's not because of him. Like, he did his job and he did what he had to do. There's a lot of yards in that first half that didn't lead to anything.
Yeah, it's true.
Empty
So
calories.
it was kind of, I mean, empty calories for in the result sense. I don't feel like empty calories for Alvin, but because he did his thing. He scored a touchdown on the play where there was an illegal guy down the field. Like, he did his job. Like, his yards are earned, they're counted, but like in terms of impacting the overall game, like the team blew what he was creating for him.
Yeah.
So when you look up at the end of the game, he had 112, but then it was in the first half. Like, it didn't really equate to anything. And when we're picking the guy, I kind of felt like Scantling was the only guy that made a play that impacted the game. So
That's fair.
That's why we put him on here.
All right. Drum roll. Brrr. Jefferson Financial Federal Credit Union segment. 3 up, 3 down. Who's getting praised and who's getting?
I mean, obviously Alvin. I mean, he's on that list. He had a lot of yards. He played a really good game. Team blew it for him.
What's crazy about Alvin's day is he had at least 3 negative runs. I have to go through the box score to see if he had 4. Maybe he had a 0 in there too, and some big moments. Plays that just totally flopped. So you take those away, he's probably got like 20 carries for 120 yards. Like, I mean, he had some really explosive runs, especially early in the game. But like you said, didn't amount to anything.
So I mean, my guy on this list, I would probably go Kevin Austin Jr. He had 3 catches, 31 yards. Not like a robust stat sheet, but he made key plays in key moments, and he's just really he's really stepped up for who he is. That's a good game for a guy that you kind of elevated mid-season and found off the street, so to speak, in the offseason.
He also had the 9-yard run on that last drive that felt like it was going to be a huge moment in the game, or maybe no, that was on the touchdown drive, so it was a big moment in the game. So it was 4 touches for 40 yards for him, and yeah, I mean, he caught that one that was behind him. Like, I've really been impressed by him, and since I mentioned the receivers all as a group, Dante Pettis made a fantastic catch on that 2-point conversion. It's hard to put the receivers in when the Saints only managed 14 points and Derek Carr only threw for 184. Where were they when they were needed most? So it was flash plays for those guys, but obviously not enough playmakers overall on this team still.
Sticking with a pass catcher, I got to go Juwan Johnson. We've been on him kind of about making catches and making things happen. He had 5 receptions for 36 yards today. I think he, in a sense, kind of showed that he's still reliable. Carr was looking for him on that last touchdown play. So I'll go Juwan Johnson just because he's not getting worse. He's not getting worse.
I don't know. I feel like he's missing some of these opportunities that they're giving him. I think there should have been a PI call on that deep pass that they threw to him. That would have been a huge moment in this game. They didn't call the PI. They should have, but maybe he should have still won the battle for that catch. Maybe he gets open earlier on that last play. Like he's solid at best, but they need alphas. They need go-to guys, and he has not taken this opportunity to become a go-to guy. So I'm a little more tepid on that choice.
You got another up?
I'll go to the defense and go with Brian Brzee, another guy who dealt with an injury. I can't say that he had a good game the whole game. I know he didn't have a good game the whole game because the Rams' 2 running backs averaged over 6 yards a carry, and it felt like they knifed through the defensive line before they were touched every single time. But he had 2 big pressures in 2 big moments that stood out, including a sack, and it's like, at least give the defensive line a dose of that. He's leading the team with 6.5 sacks right now. So probably doesn't have an overall terrific grade in this game, but at least got noticed for pass rushing, and not a lot of guys have done that this year.
I don't.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't.
Rico Payton
That was a nice
good play.
That was a great play.
Good one.
went down there. Him and JT Gray shut down Xavier.
Yeah.
Smith on the return just nailed him down at the line. So Rico Payton is on my list. Now it's time for the down. Start it off, Nick.
I think the whole O-line kind of stunk in pass protection. It just felt like there was a ton of pressure in there. So I'm going to throw them all on the list. It didn't feel clean enough throughout the day in pass protection.
Yeah, O-line did a lot of things wrong. Those penalties that killed the drive on Fuaga and Penning.
Yeah.
Negative runs on, 2nd and 1 turned into 3rd and 4 at one point. That killed a drive. the play before the Derek Carr incompletion was a run that didn't go anywhere. Some really disappointing situations in the run game. So it was not a good day for the O-line. I'm going back to special teams where you just were. I mean, Groupie misses a 36-yarder, easy to pick on him. He made 19 of his first 20 field goals. He was due for a miss. He made 2 54-yarders, but he did miss a 36-yarder. They did give up, I think, a 41-yard touchdown return. And the biggest disappointment of all to me was Matthew Hayball. They punted from that drive I told you about. Starts on their own 49.
Yeah.
Didn't start. 1st and 10 on their own 49. Gets 0 yards. Punt from their own 49. And he punts a 31-yarder to the 20. Like, you got to pin them back. Very, very. He's continued to disappoint me this season.
My pick for the down is going to be the secondary. Once Tyron went out, it's like Matthew Stafford smelled blood in the water, and he just started attacking them, picking at all of them, really, in all honesty. Ugo Amani, Tutu Atwell got him. Alontae Taylor got him to get a PI down the field with, I don't know, I'm blanking on Puka Nakua's name. Puka Nakua. You have Robinson getting it in there. So, like, he just started going to his cast of guys once Tyron went out. And even, the safeties. Jordan Howden got picked at. Will Harris got picked at. So the secondary as a whole, once Tyron went out, they're going to be down for me because I understand not being able to roll without your leader, but you can't just be chopped liver out there. You gotta make some things happen.
I'm going to go with the tackling. It was spotty tackling again for this team. I saw Alontae miss 3. I saw Chase Young miss 2. I saw DeMario miss 2. I saw Kool-Aid miss 2. Like, there were a lot of missed tackles in this game, and it felt like the Rams realized in the second half that, if we make them tackle, we're going to be able to move the ball down the field. If we make them, play coverage, they're going to be able to cover. It just kind of felt like something happened in the second half. They're like, wait, we're playing the Saints defense, and they have a really bad run defense, so let's run on them. And then they could. And then the Saints showed why. They made some of these plays that they've been making all season long, and I thought it showed up again today.
Yeah, I'm going to put Derek Carr in the down.
He was my next one.
His stock was going up for me, and this is again not like meaning he's one of the 3 worst players on the field or anything today, but he's a guy whose arrow went down. We've used that expression a million times. He's a win with quarterback, not a win because of quarterback. He had a chance to be the win because of guy today, and he didn't make those plays. And again, we've talked about the receivers he's thrown to, but they didn't finish off those drives because he didn't make the killer plays to finish those drives off outside of the MVS touchdown pass.
Going with a down on Jamal Williams, came in and didn't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Didn't do anything today. He didn't add anything. His presence wasn't missed. And pass protection, running, anything. It just was like, he's back. Cool. Nothing really happened. You got another one?
No, I mean, I just want to add a qualifier, though, to my O-line when I feel bad for singling them out without pointing out that they were down the starting center and Lucas Patrick and then Nick Saldivari, the backup for him, goes out. So they're down a handful of guys there. I feel bad for singling them out, but they didn't play good. But I just wanted to make sure that people, if they weren't aware, they were going through a hardship at that position.
And Carr officially was not sacked, even though twice he was sacked, and then they changed the ruling.
That last one didn't count as a sack?
No, they switched it to an incomplete pass. I don't want to I don't want to put Taysom Hill in here on a day when he suffered what might be a season-ending injury. But speaking of magic going away, it's crazy that 5 carries for 10 yards. I mean, I'm the first one who's screaming in all these shows all the time, get him the ball more, get him the ball more, get him the ball more. The Rams were ready for him, and they rendered the Taysom Hill part of the run game useless today for the most part. He did get that 4th and 1 conversion, but 5 carries for 10 yards, they kind of proved that when they were prepared to stop it, they could.
Yeah, I kind of liked how they were using him more earlier in the year, more as okay, we're going to hand the ball off to him. We're going to do some of this stuff. It's kind of back to the same thing they've always done. And every now and then one of those works, but today it felt really stale. It felt really stale, and I was looking at them they've taken the creativity off of these plays a little bit. I really liked the way they were using them more, and now it's just it's the same thing you were doing in 17 and 18. It's oh, my God, look at Drew Brees split out. Ha-ha. I don't know. I liked it better when they were using him as just a running back. I like that more. I thought it worked better.
Yeah. He did lead the team with 37 receiving yards today, though.
Yep.
Yeah, and that was the thing. When I was looking
Jesus.
at the receivers, I was like, dang, Taysom led. But, I mean, Juwan and MVS were right behind him with 36. So,
Yeah.
Yep.
man, that's tough. But now it's time for the Martin Wine and Spirits question of the day. Martin's is home to a wide selection of hand-picked barrels like bourbon, whiskeys, and more. Martin's so much more than just wine. Today's question is, why do the Saints continue to run pitches to the outside in 1 yard to go situations? Why make Alvin Kamara run 15 yards to pick up one? They've been doing this all year, and they did it multiple times today.
Yeah, at times it's worked. I absolutely hated it today, though.
Yeah.
And I don't love it. Again, you got Taysom. Like, hand him the ball and let him get ahead of steam behind the line of scrimmage and blast through there and just get you a yard. You got Alvin. Like, like, especially today, though, like when it's not working and they're doing a good job of, like, snuffing everything out that goes to the outside. Like, stop doing that. They turn some of those situations in the 3rd and 5 instead of like, why? Like, what is the value of it? And like, I hate it when people are like, this is predictable to play. Like, those started to feel predictable in that game.
Although I will say it's funny. I was trying to find those situations as part of my story. One of those, he threw the touchdown pass. It was 2nd and 1, and Alvin lost 4 yards, and it made it 3rd and 5, and they threw the touchdown pass to MVS. So it wasn't actually on the drive killers. The only thing I will say is runs up the middle were not working. As we just mentioned, Taysom ran the ball 5 times for 10 yards. That feels like the obvious choice. And on that crucial final drive, they ran Alvin right up the middle on 3rd and 4, and it became 4th and 3. So they had nothing they could rely on in short yardage running today. Nothing was go-to for them today.
Yeah, I mean, they could have tried to not do a direct snap and hand off to him and, just try to do something different. Like, you keep trying to do the same stuff. And like I said, it felt like it was predictable. Like, nothing works isn't an answer. Like, you can't just keep doing the thing that doesn't work, though. Like, that's not a productive thing. And, like, shout out to them for getting the touchdown after that. But, like, they made their situation harder. So
yeah, they sure did.
I just didn't like it. I don't like those. I didn't like that they were doing it today. There was another game, too, where they weren't working at all, and they were all going to the right side in that game. And I don't know. Like, it's just sometimes they kind of get, like, stuck on something, and it's like, this is going to work. It's going to work. It's going to work. And then it just never does. That is something that in some of these losses, like, it does feel like a hallmark of, as you were saying earlier, like, they don't have an answer for something. Like, sometimes you got to go off and do something different. Like, it works when everything's working, but what works when it isn't working? And that has been the one consistent thing that I don't think has really shown through, where it's like, okay, they're facing a hardship, and then in the third quarter with 8 minutes left, something turns, and then they start, like, it doesn't feel like that's happened for this team yet this year on offense.
Definition of insanity is just doing the same thing, expecting different results. So you gotta switch it up, change it up a little bit to make stuff happen. That'll do it for this edition of NewOrleans.Football. We appreciate those who are in here tonight. If you're not in here tonight and you're catching this the day after, be sure to subscribe so you're in here right after the games. When we do our post-game shows, you get all the analysis, all the breakdowns, everything we provide. Catch you next time.